What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. It looks like today is potentially going to be a good market day, and hopefully you all have had a good morning so far, because the markets are looking interesting, right? A lot of stocks were pumping towards the end of yesterday, and they've been relatively stagnant, if not fading away a little bit in the pre-market and after hours. But good morning, everyone. Good morning, Hero, Flux Force, Shadow Girl, Silver, Rich M, and good morning, Mark, also. So let's start off taking a look at the charts. We got them right here. And you can see Sundial actually started fading away throughout the trading day yesterday. It ended up moving down just a touch, not really making new lows, but we have had a little bit of stagnation in the after hours and pre-market. DWAC, on the other hand, doing incredibly well towards the end of the day, moving up in the after hours almost to $70 per share, so doing incredibly well with DWAC, although it is a bit lower now, around 62. So we'll see what happens with it when actual volume gets in. I'll show you guys an interesting trend with DWAC in just a second. But Cfvi really took off yesterday. That's probably one of the more impressive moves that we've seen with it. It moved up all the way to 1535 on some news that we'll talk about also. And it's stagnated around 14. It looks like it's using 14 as support. And PHUN, of course, we'll continue to cover PHUN. It has been following along with DWAC, as it always has. It moved up above 4 very briefly in the after hours yesterday. We'll see if it can't get back up there again. But let's see. We've got a couple of comments coming in. And Silver says, bring on the shorts. Keep coming. In the end, they will get DWAC'd. Dwacked, I think. All right. That's what I was actually just looking at some shorts, actually. Not on DWAC. I'll look at those in just a second. But on Sundial, looks like we've hit a new temporary record, right? Compared to what we've seen over the past week or so. 321 million shares short. It's increased again today by 0.86%. We're now at 15.64% of the free float being short on Sundial. And we'll check out DWAC. Let's see what they've got for their short interest real quick. We'll check that. It looks like it's up again today also, up 2% today, up to 10.71, 3.22 million shares short on DWAC. So, all in all, the shorts are not shying away from these stocks. They continue to pile in. And good morning, Ambition, also. And Manny C. Yeah, and Manny C says, let's go, Mark. We'll take a peek at Mark right here. Looks like it is following along a little bit also. Yeah, alongside PHUN and DWAC, it's also been moving up. So we'll see what happens with it over the course of the day. I'll bring back PHUN real quick. But yeah, all of the Trump stocks are doing incredibly well over the past couple of days, alongside the markets, right? The markets started rallying again. They stopped the bleeding, and now all the Trump stocks are doing well also. So it's pretty cool to see. We do have some economic statistics that came out today. The jobless claims, new jobless claims, actually the lowest we've seen since 1969. So cool stuff. Cool stuff. Totaling only 184,000 jobs, new jobless claims last week. So we've actually got the actual report right here. We were expected to get 215,000 new jobless claims, and it ended up only being 184,000. So somewhat odd. I mean, the lowest since 1969. I suppose it's no surprise. It is fairly impressive, right? Especially nowadays. I mean, there's probably a lot of people looking for workers. There's probably a lot of people looking to retain their workers too. So that's probably why we didn't see very many jobless claims. But we'll bring that back up in a little bit once some more viewers get into the stream. We like to cover the news every now and then, just because not everyone's here during the first couple minutes. So we don't want anyone to miss anything important. But what else? There was something. Oh, yeah, interesting trend regarding DWAC. I've got it right here. I think I have it right here. Here it is. Yep. So DWAC, you can see slowly but surely increasing its search interest on Google day after day, slowly reaching new highs. You can see it's slightly increasing every day. Today, once again, reaching new highs on Google Trends. So we'll see if that can continue, if they can keep boosting up their search volume, and potentially more people will be getting in if they keep looking into a stock that they're interested in. They keep seeing the price going up, so more people might be getting in. And also, DWAC trending number 2 most active on stock twits, right below AMC. So if they can only get 2,500 more mentions on StockTwits. They would be the number one trending. We'll see what happens today. AMC usually dominates StockTwits, so we'll see if we can get DWAC moving up above them. Looks like AMC is experiencing a little bit of pain as of yesterday, so DWAC is certainly outperforming them price-wise, but AMC is outperforming them as usual mention-wise on StockTwits and on Ape Wisdom. On Ape Wisdom, though, we do actually have DWAC beating out AMC mention-wise and upvote-wise. So up 6 spots today to number 6, Digital World Acquisition, 202 mentions, 680 upvotes. So number 6 most trending stock on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. So there we go. So DWAC doing pretty darn good. I think a lot of people are looking into this one, especially seeing that it just hit $70. It is likely beginning the next leg of this uptrend. It looks like they fell out to around $40 and then sat there for a bit, and now they're on the way up again. So if they can break out past potentially maybe $75 or $80, then they could be on the way to the moon. We'll see what happens with them. We'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of people were probably a little wary initially of getting in on DWAC. They saw the highs that it reached just a day or two after announcing the merger agreement with DMTG. A lot of people may not have wanted to buy into that skyrocketing hype ball that it was, and ended up waiting a couple of weeks, a month or two, and now they're more comfortable with it. They've seen that it's gained some support at certain levels. Some new news has come out for it, right? They've actually raised $1 billion from that pipe deal also, so they'll be a much stronger fundamental company too. So now potentially we're seeing some more investors start to pull the trigger on those orders for DWAC. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. It certainly looks like interest is increasing over the past day or so, or even the past couple of days. A lot of interest over the past couple of days. It's just been going up and up and up. You can already see beating out a lot of what we did on Friday. We only had a search ranking of about 56 on Friday. Then on Monday we had 77. Looks like 77 again on Tuesday, 89 on Wednesday, and 91 today, this morning. So a lot of new people looking into DWAC stock. All right, and we've got some comments here. So Zach Taylor's here. What's up, Zach? Kitchener Leslie's here also. Worlza, good morning. Worlza and Rocky Mountain Cobblers. Let's see. Tim Boone, good morning, man. And JL, what's up? What's up? And Buck Thanar asks, what's up with AVCT? We'll take a peek at AVCT. Amir Virtual Cloud Tech Inc. So, is there any news for it? Looks like... So they see higher 2021 revenue from their Candy platform and shares rise pre-bell. So AVCT said late Wednesday it expects its cloud communications platform Candy to generate revenue of $18.8 million in 2021, up from $14.3 million a year earlier. For 2022, Candy is expected to be more than $37 million worth of revenue, and shares in the cloud communication technology provider rose more than 21% in recent pre-market activity. So that's what's going on. It looks like they're getting more revenue from one of their platforms than they were expecting to. And it looks like they've been on a big downtrend, but we have seen a lot of volume coming into this stock lately. So if there ever was a time for them to reverse this trend, and actually it looks like they've done it just a little bit. They're up to 161 at the highs. They're sitting around 130. So if you look, I mean, obviously they aren't back up, where they were like just a couple of weeks ago, but they have been moving up significantly. So we'll see what happens with them. They may have been a little bit oversold when they got pushed below $1 to 80 cents. So potentially they're a good buy at this point. I don't know. I don't know too much about this company, but we'll see. Parler and Rumble are tied to Bongino. I don't know what that is, but Bongino. I've not heard of it, but it sounds interesting. So CFVI, we'll take a peek at the Rumble SPAC. It is doing incredibly well. Ever since yesterday, late in the trading day, they started skyrocketing up on high volume. And on this news that, we'll read it out right here. Let's see. Rumble announces Michael Ellis as general counsel. So today, the video platform Rumble announced that it has hired Michael Ellis as general counsel and corporate secretary. Ellis formerly served in senior legal and policy roles in the intelligence community, White House, and Congress. Rumble is already one of the most respected independent and privately owned companies in the online video sharing platform industry, and Ellis will provide top-notch counsel as the company continues to expand. So good news on that account. And then also, Cantor Fitzgerald CEO Howard Lutnick now interviewing on Fox Business discussing CFVI and social media-related SPAC, saying Rumble is going to take the middle. So very possible, very possible. And Cantor Fitzgerald, SPAC partner, had 80 billion viewer hours last month. So Rumble had 80 billion viewer hours last month. Very impressive stuff. So obviously Rumble is doing incredibly well on this news. They did end up pumping up late in the day. And it looks like they're holding fairly well. They haven't dipped too far below 14 at any point. They did very briefly. They got down to lows of 13.77 before quickly coming back up above 14. So now they're around 14.16. Hopefully they won't go too much lower. And NA Photography, good morning. Good morning. And Brandon Sizemore says, can't have volume up because of work, but Sundial's day is brewing and the coffee pot's almost full. I think so. We're just waiting on Sundial. Sundial is probably my highest conviction 2022 play. I think that they'll probably be going up, at least if you look at, from a percentage gain standpoint, from where they are now to the heights of what they'll reach in 2022. I think Sundial has some real potential to blow expectations out of the water. I don't think anyone's going to see it coming, how high Sundial and really a lot of those cannabis companies can get. I think that, the tables are going to turn. The analysts are going to start viewing them very favorably as soon as cannabis becomes legal in the United States. I think that's when, once you see the uptrend begin, that's when all the analysts always change their tune and they want to get in on the good momentum and have their calls be correct. So they'll probably all end up changing their ratings, is my expectation, sometime in 2022. They'll probably start saying, oh, now these companies are buys all of a sudden. Now that they're 10 times more expensive than they are, they'll probably start changing their ratings at that point. So it'll be interesting to see when they actually end up doing that. But Kitchener Leslie says, so should we all buy Sundial? That's not what I'm saying. I just happen to like Sundial myself. I'm just telling you guys what I think. And Fluxforce says, damn, Rob, your sub count went from 7.9K to 8.3 verse yesterday. Well done, sir. That hard work's paying off. It certainly is. Thank you, Fluxforce. I appreciate it. And good morning, Brazil AA. Yeah, good morning, man. But I agree, Fluxforce. I think, the hard work is paying off. Also, I will actually mention right here, since we're talking about subscriber counts, I'll bring it up real quick. I'll bring it up. But if anyone happens to be watching the stream right now and isn't subscribed to the channel, I'll show you guys right here. If anyone isn't subscribed and wants to subscribe, we've got 8,038 subscribers, so feel free to hit the subscribe button, and you guys could actually watch this number grow live. If you guys are interested in watching this number go up live, anyone who hits the subscribe button, it will literally tick right in front of you and increase the number. So maybe we could get it up to 8,040 in the next couple of seconds. I mean, we've only got 45 viewers. Likely, pretty much everybody is already subscribed if they're in this early. We've only been doing the stream 14 minutes, so maybe we'll pull this back up later. But if anyone wanted to subscribe, we have it right here, and I'll keep an eye on that. So if we do see a change, I'll bring it back up. And Buck Thinar says, when the DEA removes cannabis as a Schedule I drug, Sundial will skyrocket. Yeah, I think that'll be nice. Not just that, but I mean, legalization, I think we could see that also. And Silver says 10K by end of winter, 25K by end of summer. Oh, talking about the sub count. Yeah, I think that's what I'm hoping for. 10K would be nice. 10K was actually my goal for end of the year. So we've got 21 days left to do it. We'll see. We're not even 2,000 off at this point, so it's possible we could do it, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. That was a very ambitious goal, honestly. I did not expect to get to it or even to get this close to it when I started the channel. So we'll see what happens with it. All right. So now we're just waiting a couple of minutes for the markets to open, but I will pull up some of the statistics that came out yesterday for those of you who are new to the stream. we had initial jobless claims come out today, and we were forecast to have 215,000 new jobless claims, and we ended up only having 184,000. And this is actually the lowest amount that we've had since 1969. We've never had this few jobs since then, or few jobless claims since then. So all in all, a supposedly very good thing for the economy. You can see the headline right here on Yahoo Finance. New jobless claims totaled 184,000 last week, reaching the lowest since 1969. So all in all, it looks like employers are trying to retain their employees. They don't want to get rid of their employees. It looks like employees are a hot commodity right now. So we'll see what happens next couple of weeks. But it's looking like the general economic indicators are doing pretty good, right? There's not too much unemployment. We'll pull up the SPY real quick. It looks like it's not reacting too strongly to this news. In fact, we're actually down on SPY from where we closed, even though we just had this good jobs report. So we'll see what happens with SPY. Hopefully it doesn't start moving down again. It looks like it's stagnated for the past day or so. It's been relatively stagnant. It hasn't moved up, down, or down too much. Trying to get through 470 maybe. And honestly, we're pretty darn close to the all-time highs. So if we can get through 470, then we would be at the all-time highs. And honestly, we did come up very quickly. I think a lot of people were expecting us to move down further, and it's not too late. We certainly could. We certainly could move down with the SPY over the next couple of days. It's not too late to renew this downtrend. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. I mean, if it does, then it will open up some new buying opportunities, but it certainly will put a damper on a lot of the rallies that we've seen lately. That's what I would expect to see, at least, if that ended up happening. So we'll see. I know nobody ever wants to see the stocks go down, but sometimes it does provide a nice buying opportunity. I myself am sitting on some cash, waiting for some cheap opportunities to buy the dip. So we'll see. We'll see if we can find any of those. We'll see if we can find any buying opportunities over the next, the course of the next month. Hopefully sometime in December or early January at the latest is when I would like to be deploying the cash. I think 2022 could be a great year for a lot of stocks. So we'll see. And Valera P, what's up? Good morning. And Saucy Fredo asks, should I sell my Sundial? I'm in green by a little and buy back in lower. I can't give personalized financial advice, but I mean, looking at Sundial, we did definitely get pushed into a big downtrend. Personally, I think Sundial's too cheap, but at the same time, it looks like we are moving down. We might see slightly lower prices. Who's to say? It's tough to time the markets exactly like that. I could do the same kind of thing, right? I could sell my Sundial and hope to buy in lower. But man, I don't want to miss out when Sundial moves up. It's already so cheap at 61 cents. Just from a fundamental standpoint, I think it's a little too cheap at this point. So I'm not going to try to lower my cost average on it. I'm not saying you can't make money doing that. You could definitely potentially do it. But it's a tough thing to do, right? Whenever I try to do that, I end up getting a little bit greedy with the buys. I end up looking for a cheaper price and a cheaper price, and eventually it turns around, moves back up, and then I'm not making money on the trade anymore. Then I'm buying back in higher if I want to. So I shy away from that a little bit. But we'll see what happens with Sundial. Obviously, it's been moving up the past couple of days. Today could be a day that it takes a little bit of a breather. We'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't move too far below 60 cents. I wouldn't like to see it below 60 again, but if it did, then I'd be looking to buy some more probably if we got it below 60 cents. If we could get it in the mid to low 50s, that would be a nice buying point for me, but I'm going to hold on to the shares that I've got. And Valera P says, Sundial and Alcana meeting the 14th of December. Both ISS and Alcana are in agreement for this move. About time to fly. And no, not pumping, just facts. Let's hope this starts a move north. Yeah, I think that'll be a big catalyst for them. I mean, obviously, the Alcana merger is going to be really beneficial. They'll be expanding their cash flow into alcohol as well, so they don't have to rely as much on just purely cannabis. So, also, Alcana has a majority interest in Nova Cannabis. So Sundial will essentially be acquiring a lot of new cannabis stores, making them a big leader in cannabis in the Canadian market. So I think they're going to do really well over the long term, especially with this merger going through. And Heckler Kosh says, I like Sundial for the long term. I've got 10K shares at 59.88 cents. With these mergers, I can see a 20% move. It could be. It could be. Maybe we'll see that kind of a move. We'll have to see what happens. There are a lot of shorts in Sundial. I'll pull up the short interest real quick, but we've certainly got a lot of shorts in Sundial stock. So we'll pull it up real quick right here, but a lot of shorts in Sundial, potentially not wanting Sundial to move up. Obviously, they're increasing their interest even today in Sundial, right? Plus 0.86% shorts in Sundial today. So 321 million shares short. I don't know when these shorts intend on covering, if they ever intend on covering. It seems like they've perpetually just been increasing their positions on Sundial. So we'll see what they end up doing if they end up getting squeezed out. That's what happened last time. They were squeezed out a bit around the big pump last time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Sundial stock and the shorts. I mean, maybe they'll let it pump up 20% and just continue to short it more. Maybe they'll start covering towards the end of the year or beginning of next year as legalization becomes more apparent. That would be a hope, but we'll see. We'll see. It would also be nice to squeeze them out at a rather high price and cause Sundial to move up even more. So that could be good also. However, the shorts want to buy back in, I'm down for it. That works for me. All right, so let's see where Sundial is on Reddit. So it's interesting. Sundial is actually moving up on Reddit. It's not moving up much. It's up to spot number 44. So all in all, it's not that much, but it is up 39 spots today. So Sundial Growers up to spot number 44 on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. So it's doing pretty good, up 39 spots on the day, but still, not too many mentions, only 32 and 105 upvotes. All in all, not the craziest. Not nearly as good as DWAC, up to spot number 6 with 202 mentions and 680 upvotes. So DWAC, all in all, beating out Sundial. And Rob, did you check Cfvi? Yeah, we were looking at Cfvi. It's using 14 as support right now. We got it in the bottom left chart right here. And the news regarding Cfvi, they've got 80 billion viewer hours last month, so impressive stuff there. Howard Lutnick now interviewing on Fox Business discussing Cfvi and social media-related SPACs, saying Rumble is going to take the middle. And what else do we have? We had Rumble announcing Michael Ellis as general counsel, so a lot of good stuff going on. A lot of good stuff going on for Cfvi also. So yeah, Cfvi also moved up pretty big on significant volume yesterday. It's just like they all of a sudden had a ton of volume coming in, and that shot them up to highs of 1535. So not quite all-time highs, but getting close. They weren't that far off. They were less than $1 off from the all-time highs. So we'll see what happens with Cfvi today if we get some more volume coming in, some more interest in them. Let me pull up their trends data, and we'll see. We'll see what their trends data says. So Cfvi, nothing too impressive on the trends data. I'll pull it up, but nothing too impressive. It looks like we had that big spike in Cfvi price and big spike in interest on Monday, and since then it hasn't been anything crazy. So we'll see if more people start searching for Cfvi stock in the near future. That would be nice to see. And Tim Boone says, can you explain shorts? New to stocks and don't understand how that works. Where do they make their money? So when you're short, let's use Sundial as an example. So if you're a short and you short a stock, any stock, essentially what you're doing is when the day that you short it, the time that you short it, say we were way back here when Sundial was 90 cents. What you would essentially be doing is you would be borrowing a share from somebody and selling it to someone else. So you're selling a share for 90 cents. You still owe someone that share. And you can hold that position for as long as you'd like. You have to pay a little bit of interest in the meantime. But your hope is that the share price goes down and down and down. And then say Sundial goes down to 60 cents. You can then buy back a share yourself for 60 cents and hand it over to the person you borrowed it from. So you've essentially just sold before you bought. So that's what shorting is. You're essentially selling the stock before you're buying it. and that allows you to benefit from the price moving down because you want to sell when it's high and buy when it's low. So when you're shorting, your goal is for the price to move down because you've sold and you're hoping that that's the high point. If it goes up, then you have to buy it back and it's more expensive. But that's what shorts are, and that's why we like when shorts get into stocks sometimes, because it means that they eventually have to buy back all of those shares that they've shorted. So you can end up making some money off of it. So that's an upside to shorting. And Rob, can you touch on market manipulation, please? Yeah, so sometimes you'll see some institutions, and a good example of this is CEI stock. We'll actually pull up CEI stock. Here we go. So the past 90 days should do it. But CEI stock was a good example of market manipulation. So this stock was moving up, and we were covering this stock a while ago. It was moving up from 33 cents all the way to highs of 485, and it started consolidating around 3. And this is a stock that had a lot of shorts in it. So a lot of shorts were entering into CEI stock. They were hoping that the price would move down. They were hoping that this move was unjustified. And on a fundamental level, it probably was. Right? This was a stock being pumped up by Zach Morris, a trader from Twitter. And a lot of shorts were entering it, hoping to make some money on a downturn. Now, potentially, some ways to manipulate it would be just to short a ton of shares, more shares than people could potentially be buying. And typically, to short shares, you have to borrow the shares from someone else. So there's only a certain number of shares that you can short. There's only a certain number of shares that people have up on loan to borrow. So there's only a certain number that you can actually end up shorting. But sometimes what shorts will do, and it's not legal, but there have been discussions about shorts doing this, is naked shorting. And that's when you sell shares of stock that you haven't actually borrowed from anyone. You're just making them up. You're just saying that you're selling someone a share of stock, essentially. And, I don't know exactly how that works, because ideally, when you're buying a stock, you'd actually be buying a share of the stock. But who knows how they end up doing it, right? That's beyond my knowledge. I'm not an institution who's naked shorting. But when you do that, you're essentially doing something illegal and selling more shares than should be available, and you can push a stock down. Now, that I don't think is what happened with CEI stock, but what ended up happening here on this big drop is a lot of shorts started entering at the beginning of the day, pushing it down a little bit, causing some fear, breaking it through the $3 support, and then Carousel Capital released a big short report on CEI stock, which was essentially a very bearish report discussing the negative fundamentals of the company, and this thing just shot down. So that's kind of an instance of market manipulation, right? Just using potentially not necessarily misinformation. I believe everything in the report was accurate, but they certainly did it in a way. They constructed the situation where they could shoot the thing down by shorting it a lot while releasing this report, creating a bunch of fear. And that's essentially manipulating the market. Now, whether or not that's legal or illegal is yet to be seen, right? I mean, potentially, it's okay to release a short report and to be shorting something a lot at the same time, but it is probably, it's probably going along with the definition of what manipulation is, just doing things that affect the price of something else. So oftentimes you'll see it, especially with smaller market cap stocks. Those are easier to manipulate on your own. And Nicholas Morello, you push a stock down by just putting up a big sell order and then you slowly lower it. Yeah, so that's what you can do with shorts also. And you don't even have to own the stock to do it. You can just start shorting it if you want to push the stock down. And you kind of end up helping your own position, right? If you have a short position, then it's beneficial for you to short a little bit more and push a stock down even more. So we've got the opening bell. It looks like it's rung. And looks like we're getting a little bit of red in the markets right now. So everything is looking like it's a little bit red. Everything is red, actually. Wow. Everything is red from close, and everything is red on the first bar, so it's not looking great. DWAC down to 61. Sundial down close to 61 cents, and Cfvi down a little bit. Obviously, this isn't horrific news because of the rallies that these things had yesterday. So it's not like these things are crashing by any means, but it's not great to see that they are technically down on the day. Sundial, though, potentially recovering, potentially turning green. It looks like we had the green bar for the first one, a nice big green wick. We'll see what happens with Sundial. if cannabis stocks are going to be moving up. It looks like they're red at the moment. TLRY and MJNA are both red, but Cfei just had a big green pop right there. It just popped up to $14.80. Almost it looks like a 40-cent gain right there. So Cfei doing decently, and DWAC is stagnating around where they opened. So Cfei reaching for new highs, getting close to 1490 on Cfei. So the Rumble SPAC is doing good. Dwacers don't listen to the BS. That's why we're here in the first place, says JL. That's right. That's right. We'll see what happens with it today. It looks like we've had some bad volume on DWAC, but overall, still above 60, which is much higher than where we started yesterday at $50. So all in all, not too bad. Sundial has had 2 green bars thus far, and it's looking like this next one might be a green bar also. Let's hope. I mean, Sundial, it's looking like it's reaching for the sky. We'll see what happens. And PHUN following along with DWAC, getting a little red on the day as usual, right? It tends to follow DWAC. And Kitchener Leslie says, my sell orders get rejected if I put them too high. That's interesting. That's interesting. I assume you're talking about limit sell orders, which I think some people were using limit sell orders to potentially stop people from shorting. But Sundial moving up, turning green on the day for a brief second at the highs of this bar. We'll see if it can maintain that. It looks like it's getting pushed down temporarily towards the up. Well, they're back up. So let's see what happens with Sundial. This could be a good day for Sundial. They're nowhere near the highs of the pre-market, but this could be, wow. The last second on that bar really changed it. So now, well, we'll see what happens. It looks like they opened higher on this next bar. So it's there's a lot of volatility with Sundial, it looks like. Crazy stuff. DWAC is just continuing this downtrend. We kind of want a green bar. We want to see a green bar at least. Every bar has been red thus far. So we'll see. Sundial's outperforming though. Sundial looks like it's the only green stock that we're watching right now. So we'll see what we can get with Sundial. But Sundial is up to 62 cents, up 1% on the day. Not upset to see that. We'll pull up SPY real quick over Cfvi. But SPY is getting some green bars too. Looks like Sundial is following suit. Yeah, Sundial is moving up pretty good, up 1.36%. And SPY potentially going to turn green. It's down 0.2% on the day, SPY is. But we'll see if we can get this thing green by the next couple of minutes. We'll see if we can do it. And I do want to actually take a peek at MJNA. This is the stock that we were talking about yesterday. Very low market cap cannabis company that's been around for decades apparently, but it looks like it's been pushed down over the past couple of years, unfortunately. But now it's getting pretty darn cheap. It's around 2 cents per share, so it's just getting too cheap. I might have to get in on this one. I'll do some more research on MJNA, but it is an interesting one that I've been looking into. So we'll see what happens with it. But back to Cfei. Let's see, they're at 14.55. So they're getting some green, they're getting some red. Sundial up over 1%. I'm happy to see that. We'll see what we can't get going with Sundial if we can get it moving up. Let's see, are the shorts changing their positions on Sundial? Looks like, no, we're relatively the same with Sundial. Still up 0.86% short interest-wise, 321 million shares short, which I look forward to the day that those shorts start covering. And hey guys, look at that. We actually did it. We got to 8,040 subscribers. So nice. Good job. Whoever the 2 people were who subscribed, thank you very much. And if anyone wants to subscribe right now, watch the counter go up live. I'll give you about 5 seconds to do it, but you can, if you hit the button, you'll see this change into an 8,041. So any takers on that? It doesn't look like we've got any, but I will pull up crypto real quick just so we can take a peek. Because crypto was doing, well, actually, when I checked it earlier, it was doing nothing interesting. It was sitting relatively stagnant, but it looks like it's taken a bit of a turn. Now crypto is down a couple percentage points. So Bitcoin now down 2%, Ethereum down 2%, almost 3%. Binance Coin pretty stagnant. Solana down 2.83%, Cardano down 3%. The only one that's up really is Ripple, XRP, up 6% on the day. Dogecoin down 1.7%, and Shiba Inu down 1.32%. So it's not great to see cryptos are falling, but so be it. So be it. And Andrew S. says MJNA is the parent company of HEMP. HEMP, let's take a peek. Okay, so it looks like this one trades at a fraction of a cent. Wow. So that's cool, and at one point it was up to 4 cents. Huh. Man, this is a small market cap company, it looks like. MJNA and HEMP both. Wow. So yeah, I mean they're looking like potentially good buys. It's looking like 2 cents has held as a support for MJNA a couple of times. DWAC starting to move back up. It looks like we're getting a little bit of V in the markets. It looks like we're starting to follow the actual markets themselves. So SPY is continuing to move up, and DWAC is following. Sundial just continuing this pump up. Hemp is a pump and dump, says Andrew S. Yeah, I don't know about hemp. HEMP, the ticker symbol, but I'll take a peek at it later on. I mean, it's always interesting to see those really low market cap stocks down below a fraction of a cent. You never know. I mean, if you just buy 1 million shares, what is 1 million shares on HEMP? I'm kind of curious about that. So let's see. So 1,000, 10,000, maybe 100,000 shares. I'm not actually going to buy it, but that would only be $276 to buy 100,000 shares of HEMP, and wow, that would be that'd be a big buy. So I'm not so sure if I'm going to do that. It looks like these are kind of illiquid, so kind of scary stuff to see. But I'll pull up CFVI. Ooh, CFVI is starting to take a little bit of a dip. Not too excited to see that, but it could. I mean, we're down below 14, which is where we were holding as support. So potentially we could come back, and if we don't in the next couple minutes, then we might just get a better buying opportunity on CFVI. We'll see. And Kitchener Leslie says, "You're doing great, Rob. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it." Rich M, hit the like button. Rich M says, "Hit the like button." You know, that would be appreciated, guys. Actually, if you would like. It looks like we're at 48 likes right now. We've got 73 viewers. So all you would have to do to get this stream up to potentially 50 likes, you'd only need 3 people hitting that like button. So if you want to be one of the 3 musketeers who hits that like button, that would be much appreciated. We're already at 49, so now there's just the one. There's the one that we need to get to 50 likes. We'll see if we can do it. That would be appreciated if we could, but no worries if not. All right, let's see. What's trending on StockTwits now? It looks like okay, it looks like we're still where we were earlier with DWAC close in tow, right behind AMC on StockTwits, the number 2 trending stock, DWAC. Number 4, notably, is CFVI also. So this one's been trending ever since they announced the merger with Rumble. So we'll see if they can continue to benefit from that. And Penny Smith, stop by to hit the like button for you, Rob. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully, you know, one day we'll be getting enough viewers in here so that we can really affect the price of some stocks. Not in a manipulative way, but just so that we can kind of hold the line a little bit. Because as it stands, you know, we don't have too much sway. But if we had a couple thousand people, I could see that being a decent force to be reckoned with in the stock market. We'll see. I don't know if that's actually legal. Maybe we shouldn't do it. But Sundial's up over 2%, so that's good. I'm happy about Sundial moving up. It's looking like they might be continuing this uptrend as long as they can, if they can get through the highs of yesterday of 63, almost 64 cents. If we can get to 64 cents on Sundial today, and that is less than 2 cents away, then we could be continuing this uptrend, which I would not mind seeing, right? It looks like we had a little bit of bleeding in the pre-market, but we very quickly made that up. And that's not to say that we couldn't lose it all, right? We could very easily, on a couple of big red bars, lose all the gains on Sundial. It looks like something similar is happening with DWAC. We're hitting $60 on DWAC. We'll have to see where we hold. But PHUN is following suit, starting to move down a little bit. Down to 55 cents on PHUN. And CFVI, And this is as the markets are actually moving up. So they've stopped following the markets. Oh, And Kitchener Leslie says, Rob, you talked about your live stream yesterday. Make sure to tell people 9 a.m. Eastern time. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I should tell people that. I forget that, a lot of people are potentially not even watching this in the U.S. I think a lot of people in Canada potentially are watching this. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people. So from varying places are watching this stream, especially if you're into Sundial. Chances are you're from Canada, and I'll show you guys an interesting statistic on Sundial right here. In fact, I just noticed it a couple of days ago, but if you look, worldwide searches for Sundial stock on Google, you can see the most dense areas where people are searching for this thing, where there's the most interest by region. Canada has 100, okay, the highest ranking right there. Canada is most interested in it. Obviously, Sundial is a Canadian stock. But then what's interesting is the next top place is Palestine. So that's interesting. It doesn't seem to be too searched in Palestine, but who knows why it says Palestine ranks above the United States. So Canada, Palestine, United States, and then Israel, and then Belgium. Those are the top 5 places searching for Sundial stock. So that is relatively interesting statistic. So a lot of the viewers, at least for Sundial, might be from Canada. And Kitchener Leslie says, it stuck out to me because I'm West Coast. I gotcha. Yeah, there are a lot of West Coast viewers too. Yeah, no, so I've been to West Coast a couple of times, but man, I prefer the East Coast time. I don't know. It just works better for the markets. I don't have to get up super early. I mean, I get up typically at 7. I got up a little bit later today. But I mean, if you're on West Coast time, then it must be what, 6:43 for you? That's pretty darn early. And Silver says Z is injecting $100 billion into the markets to offset the Evergrand crisis that's coming. Wow. So let's take a peek at that. Let's see if we can't pull that up. So Z, 100 billion. Let's see what we can get. Let's see, anytime in the past week, we're looking for news on that. So, Evergrand restructuring puts honesty to limit contagion. Oh, we can't, that's Bloomberg. So, okay. Evergrand shares tumble. Evergrand shares tumble as new deadline for debt payment looms. Chinese developer says it cannot meet a $260 million guarantee obligation. So China's Evergrande Group, the world's most indebted property developer, was again flirting with a formal default on Monday night at the end of a 30-day grace period on $82.5 million in debt repayments due in November. So earlier on Monday, the group's shares tumbled, and disclosure on Friday said that it would struggle to meet a $260 million guarantee obligation and that its chair had been summoned by regulators. Wow. So, interesting way that they typed this here, but shares fell 19.6% from their close to $1.81. $1.81 per share. Wow. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So, Evergrande, it's not looking good for them. We'll have to see if they can rebound from this in some way, but and Z will let it die. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Evergrande, it's not looking good for Evergrande. I don't expect them to be too good in the future. I think they're probably going to just default, and who knows what kind of damage it will cause. Hopefully nothing too bad to the U.S. And Eric, evening all, finally off work here. Well, welcome, man. Good to see you. Off work, so wow, must be a very different time zone over there. I didn't realize it was that time in the afternoon, but I guess that's how it is. We were just talking about time zones. A lot of people on the West Coast around here, apparently. So it's been limping and bleeding out. They were allowed to miss a payment, but paid it. The next one, they won't make it, and Z will make an example out of them. I think probably, yeah. He'll probably like to point out that it's an example of how capitalism's failed, how it's causing all of this trouble for the economy. So That's what I expect from the Evergrand crisis. But oh well, we'll see what happens to it. Hopefully, nothing too bad. But let's see if we can get a market map going. So it looks like the markets, nothing too interesting going on in them. Honestly, it looks like they're all pretty stagnant for the most part. I mean, there's, if anything, a slight tinge of red to this, but all of these stocks are barely down, and some of the bigger market cap stocks are actually up a little bit, but for the most part, there's just a little bit of red to these markets. Microsoft up 0.18%, Apple up 0.19%, Google and Amazon both down 0.37 and 0.38%. So overall, slightly red market day to day. Nothing to be too worried about at the moment. It looks like SPY is slowly climbing. Slowly climbing. Not climbing as much as Sundial, but it's slowly climbing. DWAC getting pushed down just a touch, as is PHUN, and Cfvi down about 8% on the day. Both Cfvi and DWAC down about 8%. So that's not great to see. But for those of you who just joined, Abstract, what's up, man? It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. I'm a little tired, but I got a decent night's sleep last night to recover. The night before, I did not have much sleep, so it looks like it's somewhat caught up with me, but I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you? But I will say the news on CFVI, for those of you who just joined. One, they reported a couple of things. One, they reported that Rumble, and CFVI, by the way, is the Rumble SPAC for those of you who were curious, but Rumble had 80 billion viewer hours last month, so a ton of people using Rumble for video streaming. Also, Cantor Fitzgerald, the CEO, is now interviewing on Fox Business, discussing CFVI and social media-related SPACs, and said Rumble is going to take the middle. That's a quote from the CEO. So, also we've also got Rumble announcing Michael Ellis as general counsel. So good stuff all around. It looks like Rumble should be doing pretty well. They did end up pumping up pretty big on that news, up to highs of $15.35, and now they're taking a little bit of a breather. They're down to $13.77. We'll see if they can't hold that. And Rocky Mountain Gobbler says, what do you think about Mobileye going public soon? Mobileye. Mobileye. Let's see. Mobileye is an Israeli subsidiary of Intel that develops self-driving cars and advanced driver assistance systems. Mobileye headquarters and main research and development center is located in Jerusalem, operating under the company name Mobileye Vision Technology. I didn't realize. Wow. I've not heard of this company before, but it sounds promising. So let's see what their stock is. All right, Intel. So here we go. Intel stock rises on move to launch IPO of Mobileye unit. Shares of Intel were rising Tuesday after the chipmaker said it would be taking public its Mobileye self-driving car unit. The initial public offering is planned for the middle of next year. The move could value Mobileye at more than $50 billion. Wow, that seems somewhat large, because I was just looking at a statistic for Mobileye, and it looks like they have revenue of $1 billion for 2020. So we'll see what they do in 2021. It might be a lot higher, but that's the last thing we've got for them. So, if they can really boost their revenue in 2021, then maybe they could be valued at $50 billion. But geez, that sounds like a pretty big IPO. So, let's see. Abstract, smash that like button. Yeah, let's do it, guys. Let's smash that like button like Abstract says. Listen to him. We're at 68 likes, so we would only need 2 more likes to get to 70. We could potentially do it, this pump of the like button. We might get there. And Vivi Reddit, good morning. Good morning. What's up? And we've got a couple of comments. So, what do you think about Mobileye? That's what we got already. So, ENSC and ATR are green for me today. Don't chase ENSC, though, says boomers know how to hodl. Yeah, we'll take a peek at ENSC just to see what's going on with it. It'll be good to replace some of these red charts with some green ones. But yeah, this one's up 78%. I wouldn't be looking to chase this. N-Size, Bioscience. So what happened with this one? Healthcare stock. Okay, so So it looks like an analyst, Zacks Small Cap Research, gave stock $23 price valuation on Tuesday. All right, so maybe they're moving up on potentially analyst rating, as well as what do we have? We have mid-morning market updates. Markets mixed. United Natural Foods beats Q1. Okay, well that's not what this is. Well, maybe it's just an analyst upgrade. Who knows? But we'll take a peek at ATER, which is up. And actually it's down a little bit today, down 0.72, but it was up a bit. It was up above 570 at one point. Now it's 550, so we'll see. And Abstract, curious about crypto. We will pull up the crypto. It was looking a little bit better earlier in the morning, but now it seems like it's starting to take a little bit of a turn. Bitcoin down 3.55%. All of these were I will say all of these were relatively stagnant earlier. And in fact, Bitcoin just changed. Now it's down 4.34%. And Ethereum is down 4.23. Binance Coin down 1.86. Solana down 4.37. Cardano down 4.7. Polkadot down 6%. Shiba Inu down 2%. Dogecoin down 3%. So Bitcoin sitting around 48,600, 48,900 now. But geez, it's been tough for cryptos. It looks like they might be selling off a little bit more. Looks like they might make new lows. We'll see. It looks like they've started a new little downtrend right here. Maybe they'll get below 47,000 on Bitcoin. That would be only 1,700 away. We'll see if we can do it. Hopefully not. I mean, I'm holding some Bitcoin. I'm holding some Ethereum. So I'd prefer not, but we'll see what happens with them. Vivi Reddick says LGVN is up today. We'll take a peek at LGVN. Looks like, yeah, it's up 10% on the day, so pretty good stuff. Up to $24. Not going to complain about LGVN. It's looking like a pretty solid move, and it did consolidate at 20, fortunately, after this big rally. So it's crazy stuff. They were at $2, moved up to 45, down to 20. Now we'll see if they can't start another rally. We'll see. And Abstract says, isn't December supposed to be a bullish month for crypto? Yeah, I think that's typically a pattern that people have gotten used to seeing. You never know, though. I mean, these patterns can change as people begin to expect them. If people think there are going to be some guaranteed gains, then maybe people are looking to shake the boat a little bit, to scare some people out, to start a sell-off and then buy up crypto cheap and move the gains to January or February. Who knows? But Bitcoin's not been doing too hot over December. I will say it looks like December hit, and then they just started tanking. So they were 57,000 before. They moved down about 10,000 since December started. All right, and Lucid. We'll take a peek at Lucid, LCID. Down 8% on the day. Down 8%. So following a couple of different stocks that have been moving down, but it looks like they had a big sell-off after hours. So what happened there? Oh, okay. So after hours, Lucid shares drop as they reveal plans for a $1.75 billion offering of convertible notes via private placement. So that's all right. So they're diluting eventually. They'll be diluting their stock a little bit. So they moved down on that. They're still above $40, so notably still above 40. They've used that as a support level in the past, so and a resistance level. So it's acted for them a couple of times. We'll see if they can break through it on this news. Hopefully not, but I mean it is just opening up Lucid to be a cheaper buying opportunity if you guys are interested in Lucid over the long term. And Nicholas Morello says, I'll be buying the dip on Lucid. And Nicholas Morello also says, Rob, crypto mining is the brains of AI, so it's not going anywhere. It's the only way to make AI economical. Potentially, I guess you mean like blockchain is the brains of AI? That might be what you mean. Or I guess, yeah. I see what you're saying. Like getting people to mine on all their individual computers. See, the issue that I have with a lot of these cryptos, maybe they'll make a new crypto that does it, but it seems like the algorithms and the problems that they're solving for the cryptos are just little, like they're not actually contributing to anything yet. They're not actually doing real research. If anything, they're just making the blockchain more secure for the individual crypto that you're mining. So it would be interesting to see a crypto that really does real work in the world. When you're mining it, your computer is actually contributing to doing something beneficial or productive. All the crypto mining is doing calculations for AI. It's documented. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. It does seem like the perfect scheme. Get people researching AI with their computers, just solving these little puzzles, and that would be interesting to see if that was the case. That sounds like something that could be going on. It sounds like something that would be happening in a dystopian movie, though. So, Mauro Stefano, hey Rob, everyone's saying Apple will go over 200 with new iPhone end of year reports. So let's see what Apple is now. AAPL. Looks like they're at 176. I haven't kept too close of an eye on Apple, but man, they're already pretty darn high, near all-time high. I mean, at all-time highs, hitting that earlier today. Maybe they could get to over 200, but let's take a peek at Apple's market cap real quick and just see if that's going to be possible. Apple Inc. So they have a $2.89 trillion market cap. It's already pretty darn high. They're getting close to. They're closing in on $3 trillion. I mean, they could do it. But the new iPhone. I mean, don't people expect the new iPhone to come out every so often? I don't know if that's going to pump them. I mean, it could. Obviously, if you look at Apple over the past year, they've been doing incredibly well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Apple continuing to move up. It is shooting up right now, though. It has been shooting up almost just in a straight line ever since it was at 140, though. So there's not much time left for it to get to 200. It would have to go pretty darn high to get to 200. It would have to almost double what it's done thus far. So maybe it can. And Kitchener Leslie is betting Trump will buy DuckDuckGo. That could maybe. I use DuckDuckGo every now and then, but yeah, that would be interesting. So we'll see if that happens. And Silver's markets will get flushed out, but it's deep state money that gets hit first. They are heavy in Evergrand from the past few years. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Oh, and speaking of the Olympics, have you guys heard about that? I don't know who heard about U.S. diplomats. Let's pull this up, the story about the Olympics. U.S. diplomats to boycott the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. So, not the biggest news in the world, but it is notable both Democratic and Republican lawmakers have called for the boycott. And this doesn't mean that the athletes won't be participating. It's said that U.S. athletes could attend and would have the government's full support in the Beijing Olympics, but the White House said no official delegation would be sent to the Games because of concern about China's human rights record. So, interesting stuff. Just a little boycott, a little something to stir the pot of tension between the U.S. and China. So we'll see if there's any kind of retaliation from China regarding trade. Who knows? And the boycott of the Olympics. We'll see what happens with it. It's potentially not the most impactful move on the government's part. If they really wanted to, if they were really worried about human rights violations, then they could potentially, I don't know, do something else, something better than that. But who knows? They don't want to stir the pot too much, right? So DWAC, it looks like the stocks that we're looking at are slowly but surely recovering over these past couple of bars. Let's see what Cfvi is doing. Cfvi starting to move back up. Sundial starting to move back up. It's still green on the day, notably, as is MJNA. And where's TLRY? TLRY is a little red. But DWAC also starting to move back up, getting pretty darn close towards where it opened. And PHUN following along as well. So it's looking like stocks are potentially turning green on the day. We'll see if we can get it. SPY ended up taking a turn. It started doing the opposite. It looks like as the stocks we're watching move up, SPY moves down. So that is interesting to see. Airliners and cruise liners. We'll take a peek at AAL. Looks like they're pretty darn stagnant, down 0.77% on American Airlines. Just some volatility sitting around there. They downtrended in the pre-market and after hours. CCL, Carnival Cruise Line. not much to report either. Up, down 0.54% on the day, potentially reversing this downtrend that they've been in over the course of, it looks like yesterday's trading day. Yeah, so yesterday's trading day was actually good. They pumped up and then sold off a little bit, but they are potentially doing another pump in the early morning trading. So we'll see if they can't turn green on the day. We'll see. That'd be nice. It looks like we're getting a big green bar on CCL Carnival Cruise Line. So yeah, maybe some of the recovery stocks, as people aren't too worried about the potential new variant anymore. We could be getting some more recovery stocks moving up. That would be good. Cfvi $14. So they are holding that $14 support just barely, though. They just shot up 2 minutes ago on a nice green bar, and they've been holding $14 since. We'll see if they can't move past it and get over that. Hopefully they don't get stuck below it. That's not what we would like to see on CFVI. But DWAC, it looks like they might be making highs of the trading day. This is a complete turnaround. It was looking pretty bearish the first couple minutes of the day, and now it's a complete turnaround. DWAC starting to move back up almost to 64.52. So good stuff. And good morning, Maria. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. It looks like today was a late day for a lot of people. It was a late day for me even. I got up a little bit later than usual. Just needed a little bit more sleep. And honestly, it is very comfortable to just lay in bed in the mornings. I don't know why it's so comfortable, but it's relatively enjoyable. So the past couple of days I've done that. I did need to catch up on some sleep though, so it is well earned. Typically, when I wake up in the mornings, I'll do a little bit of a workout, some stretching. Nothing crazy, just something to get my heart pumping, but I didn't do that this morning. So the tea is all that I've got right here to get my heart pumping. Hopefully the caffeine in that will be enough. We'll see. We'll see if it is. But for those of you who are just joining, I know some people were joining late. Looks like the viewers have gone up lately. So what we've got, news-wise, is initial jobless claims. We measure them every week, but they just came out today, this morning. And we were forecast to have 215,000 new jobless claims, and we actually ended up having 184,000. So overall, a decent report, right? The lowest, actually, not just decent. I shouldn't just call it decent. It's the best jobless claims report we've seen since 1969, according to Yahoo Finance. So, if you believe the numbers, then it's a good report. I don't see reason to disbelieve the jobless claims numbers. I mean, I believe that a lot of people might not be claiming that they're jobless. Some of these comments, I don't know. YouTube wouldn't like it if I read them, so I won't. But Rich M exclaims, DWAC. Yeah, it looks like it did make highs of day just a minute ago, and now we're seeing a little bit of red. It's not too late to reverse that, though. We only are halfway through this bar, so we've got another 30 seconds about to see if this can turn green, if it could take us even higher on the day. But DWAC doing pretty good at 63.90. Looks like, or 64, wow. So yeah, DWAC moving by dollars at a time. We just got bounced off of 65. And the real resistance is probably going to be 70. That's what we got bounced off of in the after hours. We'll see if that ends up coming back. If we can get back to $70, that would be nice. A lot of people are probably trying to get back up above 70. That was a nice support that we had at one point. Or actually, sorry, nice resistance that we had at one point. So that could be a big one for us if we got up above 70. It's been a long time since we've been there. We'll see if we can do it. A lot of things are lining up for DWAC, I will say. A lot of things are lining up for them. It's looking pretty good. After they got that pipe deal, everything started turning up Millhouse for DWAC. So it was a nice bounce off of 40, took them up above 55. They dipped down. Once again, another on the way up. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we could continue that pattern. We might have another dip down at some point before moving up on the next leg. We'll see. We'll see what kind of catalysts we get coming out for DWAC. And Abstract says we're only 35 minutes into the day. We'll see what happens later. Yeah, it could be. I mean, obviously, these stocks have a way of turning around and thwarting expectations sometimes. So definitely, yeah, only 35 minutes into the day, we could definitely see some more volatility. Although it's looking like a pretty calm day in the markets. S&P has been sticking pretty close to a 0% change regarding where they closed yesterday. Right there, they're at a negative 0.19% change on the day, just kind of bobbing up and down, not doing all that much. So, all in all, the SPY, at least stocks in general, and in fact, we can even take a peek at the economic map. We'll take a peek at that wherever it is. Here it is. Most of the stocks aren't too vibrant with red or green. They're pretty dull. It's a pretty dull day in the markets. Nothing's changing all that much. The biggest changes we've got is Twitter's up 4%, and one of the more red stocks is the Williams Company, down 2.89%. So nobody knows what that one is, but Tesla's down 2% also. Still over 1,000. Maybe we'll take a peek at Tesla. I do like Tesla. But yeah, Tesla taking a little bit of a dump today, down 2.42%. And Kitchen Leslie asks, Rob, are you looking forward to the 4th season of Cobra Kai? I don't watch Cobra Kai. I've heard of it, but I don't watch it. It sounds like a potentially interesting show, but I don't know what it is, actually. So it sounds like a karate thing. It's a comedy drama series. So, 2018 action fiction. Interesting. It's apparently it's on Netflix, it looks like. So maybe I'll give it a peek. I just want Sundial to go to 420 like today, says Abstract. I would love to see it go there today. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I think we might have to wait until 2022, which isn't the farthest off now. It's less than a month away, the beginning of 2022. So we'll see what happens as we get closer to federal legalization. I mean, boy, do politicians take a long time to discuss bills. I mean, it's crazy. So, looks like anti-marijuana Indiana governor backs proposal to set up legalization rules if federal prohibition ends. Wow. So, anti-marijuana. Okay. The governor of Indiana isn't personally in support of marijuana legalization, but he says he's on board with having lawmakers pass a bill to set up the regulatory infrastructure for a legal cannabis market. That said, he'd only be open to enacting the reform after federal prohibition ends. So he's almost putting a little bit of pressure on the federal government to end it. He's saying, hey, if you guys make it legal, I'll make it legal, and I'll set up the regulatory infrastructure in my state. But you guys have to make it legal first. So he is putting a little bit of pressure on the people in the House and the people in the Senate to potentially legalize it. So Governor Eric Holcomb was asked about cannabis policy during an end-of-the-year interview with Indie Politics that was released on Tuesday. Specifically, he was asked whether he'd object to Indiana lawmakers at least starting the process of setting up a licensing structure for legal cannabis so the state can flip the switch when federal law changes. And he said, in a quote, "I don't mind that at all," the governor replied. Wow. So that's not bad to hear. Not bad to hear. It sounds like he's willing to go along with what the people want, as long as the people can elect federal politicians who will legalize it, right? I mean, you'd think that if everybody wants it legal, it would happen already, but it's certainly taken its time. And Sundial is actually moving down a little bit. Now we're a little red on the day. We're down 0.5%. So we're not below 61 cents yet. We're definitely not below 60 cents, but we'll see what happens with Sundial. Hopefully we can get a little bounce going back up. But honestly, I wouldn't mind if a decent number of these stocks that we're watching fell towards the end of the year. I think it would be great to be buying them up cheap at the end of the month. Getting ready for 2022. I think that would be a really great buying opportunity. So I am personally sitting on some cash that I would be looking to deploy if that was the case, right? I would be looking to potentially deploy some cash towards the end of the year, right before 2022 hits. Hopefully we'll get some discounts on these stocks. I mean, obviously, Sundial's already pretty darn discounted. I would like to see it down at 53 cents where it was before. I mean, I'd be happy to grab up a ton of Sundial shares at that below 50 cents. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be crazy, below 50 cents. I don't know if we'll do it. It looks like we're in an uptrend. Obviously, there's the tug and pull of, you want it cheaper so you can buy more, but you want it more expensive so what you have is worth more. So it's tough. I don't really know which way I want it to go at this point. Honestly, over the long term, it would probably be more beneficial if it moved down, just to grab some more. But that would cause some pain in the short term, right? People would be looking at their account values. They wouldn't be too happy seeing it down. So we'll see what happens with Sundial. Hopefully, nothing too crazy. And it looks like the markets are relatively unvolatile today. The VIX is it's only up 1% from yesterday's close, but it was up a lot more in the pre-market. We were expecting a much more volatile day. But from the look of it over the past year, that looks like it may be the end of this market dip. It was the most volatile we'd gotten since early January or late January this year, or very early on in the year. Was the most volatile market that we had seen. The VIX is now on the way down, though, to normal levels once again. So, and Zach Taylor says, I dumped all the pot stocks, 100% in DWAC, DWACW, Cfvi, and metals. Still looking for an exit on PROG. That's the way to go. You're certainly benefiting over the past couple of days. They're up pretty darn big. So, yeah, I mean, if you were in before yesterday, actually, then good buys on that. You've definitely made some money on DWAC. Let's see what DWACW is doing. So DWACW up to $20. Whew. So yeah, it's doing good too. It's doing pretty darn good. Yeah, nice buys on all of that. It looks like in CFVI too. We'll take a peek at CFVI. It's looking like it's down a little bit today, but it pumped up huge in the after hours or before the after hours yesterday. So it's still relatively high regarding where it's been trading the past couple of days. So good buys on all that, Zach. And Macatech, thinking about going all in on Mark. And Travis Brusso says, are we off subject here a little? Sounds like a Cobra Kai forum now. I've not been reading too much of the comments, but it might have turned into a Cobra Kai forum. But thinking about going all in on Mark, says Mac Attack. We'll take a peek at Mark. So Mark, it looks like we got a bounce off of 140 earlier. And potentially Mark could be a good buy. The thing is, it's only rumored to be in business with TMTG. So there's no confirmation. We don't know for sure that Mark is going to be involved. Like, I would be less inclined to believe that Mark would be doing well in the future than I would DWAC, because typically Mark tends to follow the trend, but it's a little bit more of a bearish trend. Maybe. I'm not saying not to buy it. Obviously, if that's what you'd like, then that's your prerogative to invest in it. But I'm a little bit more wary of Mark than I am with DWAC, right? I think DWAC has more potential, right? It's directly involved with TMTG. It's going to become TMTG. And Mark is still only rumored, I believe, to be involved with them. We don't know for sure. So if that rumor ever turned out not to be true, then I could see Mark stock falling quite a bit. But at the same time, if it turned out to be true, then I could see it moving up quite a bit on the confirmation of that news. So it's a tough one. It's tough. I mean, obviously, it's high risk, high reward. And I will say it is pretty darn cheap at this point. It's gotten down close to where it was before the pump. So maybe could be a good one. So we'll see what happens with Mark. But CFVI is what we want to watch for the most part today. It's looking like they had the most momentum coming into the after hours and pre-market yesterday. Hopefully they can continue. It looks like DWAC is starting to make another move up potentially. Looks like they took a little bit of a breather off the highs of the day and started moving back up off that now. So hopefully they won't be dropping too much more. But, all the drops, they are buying opportunities. So we'll see what we can get off of them. And let's see. Sundial. Looks like we're getting a bounce off of 61 cents. Hopefully that's the lowest we go on the day. I wouldn't like to see us too much lower, but it's looking also like the metals are down a little bit. Gold and silver, of course, they're getting crushed as usual. I mean, what else is new? Metals always get spat on by the markets, but I think one day the metals will probably be a pretty good position to have gotten into around now. I think before the big inflation hits. I mean, it is only recently that the Fed started admitting inflation was a problem. We'll pull that up. So, high inflation, falling unemployment prompted Powell's Fed pivot. Officials have laid the groundwork to more quickly end a pandemic-era stimulus program at their meeting next week. So, just 4 weeks ago, Federal Reserve set in motion carefully telegraphed plans to gradually wind down a bond-buying stimulus program in June. Officials are making plans to accelerate the process at their policy meeting next week, ending it by March instead. The abrupt shift opens the door to the Fed raising interest rates next spring rather than later in the year to curb inflation, marking a significant policy pivot by Chairman Jerome Powell shortly after President Biden offered him a second 4-year term leading the central bank. So I think the Fed has finally admitted, at the very least, I think they always realized that inflation was a problem, but I don't know if they weren't willing to admit it at the very least until now. So, also on CNBC, we've got Fed is losing credibility over its inflation narrative. That's what CNBC has to say about it. Yeah, I think they probably are losing some credibility. We'll see what happens with them, though. And the S&P 500 map still a pretty stagnant thing to look at. I mean, it's starting to polarize a little bit. You can see technology turning a little bit more green, and the more industrial parts of the economy, right? The basic materials, utilities, industrials, energy, turning a little bit more red. So it's starting to polarize a bit. As usual, tech is outperforming the market. So that's good to see, I suppose. Tech's doing decently. Tech, I think, is probably a pretty good area to be in for the future. I think that they have a lot of leverage that they can use to increase their gains. Stuff like Microsoft, if you guys haven't seen Microsoft HoloLens, that's something to take a peek at. I'll bring it up here. I know I've shown it before, but I will pull it up because it is very interesting. But Microsoft HoloLens, mixed reality. So this is an AR device, and we'll pull this up right here. But Microsoft HoloLens, I mean, if you look at this, it's essentially a little pair of glasses that this guy is looking through. And then they're using cameras, I believe, to capture this. I don't think it's just a computer-generated image. I think they're actually using cameras to capture what these people are seeing through the glasses. So it's pretty darn cool what you can do with this HoloLens thing. And it is very expensive. If you actually take a peek at the price of the HoloLens 2, it's $3,500. So it's pretty expensive, but pretty cool at the same time. It's just a little pair of glasses almost that you wear around. Not quite the most ergonomic yet. They're still a little big. But I could see at some point in the next, 3 or 4 years, this could become pretty small. I could see that becoming almost like a normal pair of glasses that people are wearing. If they really work on developing it more, then it could be pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. It's just a promising thing that Microsoft is working on, and that's why it's no surprise to me every time I look at Microsoft's market cap. See Microsoft, we'll pull it up right here. Microsoft, $2.5 trillion market cap. So just behind Apple, just a little bit behind what Apple's got. I think Apple was $2.7 trillion, but just barely shy of Apple. So very high market cap on Microsoft stock, and they're not just working on HoloLens. That's just one thing. That they've got. And Jordan Isler Peterson says it'll be $300 in 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope that there's a even better version of it that's $300 too, because I mean, it looks fairly cool as it is, but it seems a lot cooler already than what the Microsoft HoloLens 1 was. The Microsoft HoloLens 1, I'll pull up a picture of that. I'll pull them up side by side. Let's see. We need pictures of this. So, We'll see if I can. It's not exactly what I wanted. It's not what they had at the exposition years ago, but oh well. The point is, when they first showed this thing, maybe it was just the beta version of the Microsoft HoloLens. It was much bigger, much clunkier, basically covering your whole face. And now it's looking pretty darn cool. So thank you, FluxForce. Thank you, FluxForce, for the super chat. And one, he asks, take a look at Lowell, LOWL.ca. 2, taste in music. 3, use this to buy some better tea. I will. The tea that I've got is like $1, so I will definitely be doing that, FluxForce. Thank you very much. And 1, take a look at LOWL. LOWL.ca, he said. LOWL. It's probably one of these. LOWL. Lowell Farms, I assume, is what you're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume you're talking about Lowell Farms. Let me take a peek on Google, though, and see if that's different. So maybe it's LOWL.cn, Lowell Farms. I think this is what you're talking about. So let's see. Lowell Farms. What have they got going on? What is the deal with Lowell Farms on MarketWatch? We'll see if they've got... So they're a $53 million market cap. And Lowell Farms operates as a cannabis company. Okay. So it engages in cultivation, extraction, processing, manufacturing, branding, packaging, and wholesale distribution to licensed retail dispensaries statewide. The firm's brand include Cypress Cannabis, House Weed, Kaizen, Medicinals, Altai, ACME, and Moon. The company was founded by Robert Weekly and Mark Ainsworth in 1909 and is headquartered in Salina, CA. So they've been around for a long time, it seems like. So interesting to see another cannabis company. They've been doing, well, obviously they got hurt over the course of this year, as pretty much all cannabis companies did, but they're not back down to the lows. That could be a very oversold opportunity. I'm not sure about the fundamentals of them. Looks like a very similar story to Sundial, though. It looks like a very similar story. Basically, it looks like they were probably doing a lot of dilution to stay afloat, and potentially they're profitable now. Price to sales ratio is 0.86, so their net margin is down 17%. Return on... So they're not profitable, it looks like, at the moment. But total debt to total equity, 117. All right. So this could potentially be a good... I mean, obviously, every cannabis stock is going to benefit pretty greatly. But we'll see if there is anything these guys have going for them. This seems like the kind of thing that would likely be bought up eventually. Oh boy, it wants me to put in my zip code. Whew. No, I don't want to go to that website then. It looks like the kind of thing that could potentially be bought up by a larger cannabis company, since their market cap is, got it right here, $53 million. It looks like the kind of thing that once legalization occurs, you know, a lot of these companies are going to benefit greatly price-wise. As all cannabis companies did, you can see even at the beginning of this year, a lot of cannabis companies were skyrocketing around this time. This one didn't benefit as much as some of the others. Looks like it only got up from around $1 to $2, so it did move up fairly big, but now it's potentially very oversold. So I don't know why they're this low, if they're considering if their earnings have just been disappointing, but this is a potential one. Probably not something I will be buying, right? It is an over-the-counter, and apparently buying over-the-counters ends up costing a commission. I'll show you guys right here, not 100,000 shares, but let me just click this right here just to show you guys on the screen right here. It looks like they have started charging commission for over-the-counter stocks again. So it plus a $6.95 commission if I wanted this order to go through. But that's just something. So I probably won't be getting in on this one. But it is obviously going to benefit, you know, from legalization. It'll surely move up a decent amount. And we can check the short interest on it just to see. I don't know if there would actually be any short interest on it, but we'll see. So Lowell Farms, it looks like interesting how they structure this, but looks like short interest. Well, it's an over-the-counter. Wow, so they don't even have short interest. They just tell you the shares on loan, 196,000 shares on loan. So overall, probably not the highest. Probably not the highest short interest, so not too heavily shorted either. So it's a potential play. It's a potential play. Probably not what I would be interested in getting in on, though. Just because of its over-the-counter nature. You got to pay commissions. It hasn't risen as much as cannabis companies in the past. It looks like they can have some pretty big rallies, though. So this one was rallying pretty steadily for a while. Maybe it's not the type to just explode, but to move up steadily. We'll see. I mean, 2022, I expect to be a good year for cannabis companies. It would not surprise me to see this one potentially getting grabbed up. I think we'll see a lot of consolidation in the cannabis markets. I think some of the bigger players will probably be buying up a lot of these smaller market cap stocks. We've already seen Sundial making a lot of acquisitions. So, 2, taste in music. I tend to listen to a variety of things. I listen to some rock. I've been listening to a lot of rap lately. DaBaby is pretty good in my opinion. He's from Charlotte, so real close by. Charlotte, North Carolina. So he's from my state. I like DaBaby. But overall, I have a gym playlist. Typically, it's just people screaming in my ear motivational things. So I'll listen to some gym music. One of my friends is big into K-pop. I'm not a big fan of K-pop, but it's okay, I guess. But I do tend to prefer some rap. DaBaby specifically, probably one of my top artists at the moment. But most of the time, if I'm listening to something, a lot of the time it won't be music. It'll actually be a podcast. So typically, Joe Rogan Experience. I've been meaning to get into the Lex Friedman podcast lately. And Peter Schiff Show, that's a good one if you're interested in hearing about economics and all the inflation that we're going to experience. He just touts inflation all the time. I mean, I believe it, but he certainly has one-track mind, very tunnel-visioned on that. So yeah, there's a decent amount that I listen to, and I will certainly be buying some better T-Flux for, so thank you very much. And Abstract says, I like Blackpink beats, not necessarily the music, but the beats are fire. Nice. And BB says, yes, DaBaby. Nice. Looks like we've got some baby fans in here. And Jordan Isler Peterson, a literal baby? No, it's not a literal baby. We'll pull up DaBaby real quick. We'll not play any music because I don't think that's allowed. So we got DaBaby right here, American rapper, right there, from Charlotte. So there he is on Google. If you search for him, DaBaby, one word, American rapper, you can see some pictures too. So overall, a pretty good rapper as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, there we go. So A2, you should move to Nashville, aka Cashville. Dish out pizza and music. Let's see, Cfvi. Man, it looks like everything's pretty stagnant today. I mean, nothing's moved all that much. DWAC just kind of pouncing around the open. Same kind of thing for PHU, and maybe a little bit more negative on PHU. And Sundial moved up, moved down. It's only down 0.41% on the day. Everything is pretty darn stagnant. I mean, even Cfvi, it looks like we had a little early morning pump, then we moved down, and then we just stagnated for the last bit. So all in all, it wasn't the most interesting market day, and it's 10:30, so it's looking like that's going to be the end of the stream. Abstract Artemis says, I've never been to the South. It's nice. You should check it out. And Max Pierce, Rob, can you search MSSV? My buddy has stock in it that went up 20% yesterday. I will look very briefly on Ortex. I'll take a peek at the Ortex for MSSV. If we've got, where is the Ortex? Where did I move the Ortex? Is it right here? Yeah, no, that's not it. I'll pull it up. MSSV, we'll search that real quick. So let's see what we've got on that before ending the stream. Short change, MSSV. So another over the counter, it looks like. I'll pull it up real quick. MSSV. So 10 days. You sure this is the one, man? I suppose it went up 20% yesterday. Max says so. All right. It doesn't look like edit. Actually, yeah, I could see that. Okay. So, yeah, I could see that. Looks like it's pretty volatile, though, but not much to report short interest-wise. I'll show it to you real quick right there. Not much to report short interest-wise. So, 1.6K shares on loan. So, basically not shorted at all. But, yeah, it seems like it is up, but it's, once again, pretty volatile. So, tough to say what's going on with it. It looks like it's very illiquid, extremely illiquid. It seems like it would be tough to sell if you wanted to, but okay, well, that's what we've got for the stream today. So that's that. So thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully tomorrow will be a more interesting market day. Yeah, today was pretty darn stagnant. It doesn't look like too much is brewing in the markets. But other than that, guys, have a great day. Once again, for in case anyone missed it, not financial advice. I'm not recommending anyone buy or sell anything, just in case I didn't say that during the stream. But other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.